ask Tehuti, when did prostitution become illegal? 'Cause I don't think it's always been like it might have been always taboo.
When did it become illegal?
Yeah, like at what point did prostitution become illegal?
No, it wasn't always illegal.
Right, I'm gonna ask Tehuti right now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask Tehuti.
that's when they called it pimping and pandering.
Right, and then human trafficking, white slave trafficking, that start calling all kinds of shit.
They was giving niggas life sentences for that shit. That's where I got my first lessons in psychology from.
What? A prostitute?
Pimping.
Oh.
Like watching it and being around them type niggas.
Oh yeah. Okay. It says the criminalization of prostitution has varied throughout history and across different cultures. In many places, prostitution has been illegal for centuries, often due to moral or religious reasons. In the United States, laws regarding prostitution have evolved over time, with various states and cities implementing their own regulations. For example, the federal government passed the Mann Act in 1910, which made it illegal to transport women across state lines for immoral purposes, including prostitution. Additionally, the United States has laws targeting activities related to prostitution, such as solicitation, pimping, and sex trafficking. It is important to note that the laws regarding prostitution can differ significantly from one jurisdiction to another, and they continue to be a topic of debate and legal reform in many places. So, if we deal with the United States, we could say 1910 was a pivotal point, the Mann Act, which again made it illegal to transport women across state lines for immoral purposes, which included prostitution. So I don't know if it was legal before that, you know what I'm saying?
But that one to me still don't specify when they made actual pimping illegal, because that wasn't specified across the state lines and shit. So if I'm just pimping in my state, was it legal?
Right. So that's the federal, right. So now what they was talking about is the federal government. So that was a federal law. So then you just had to deal with like individual states. And then, you know what I'm saying? Because now the states follow the federal government. Now, I don't know when the states started passing, you know what I'm saying? But I would imagine it would be around the same time, you know what I'm saying? Because the states follow the feds because that's where the money goes. And I do know that there was this law against, I don't know what they called it. You remember, you heard of Jack Johnson, the boxer?
Yeah.
So they passed the law because of him. You know about that shit?
White women?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right, so Jack Johnson, boxing boy, he was knocking fucking white boys out and shit, boxing all dumb and shit, you know what I'm saying? So he was just going in there knocking their fucking heads off. And he was getting crazy money and he was a flashy nigga, you know what I'm saying? But he was just fucking white women like crazy. He was just like slaying them, you know what I'm saying? Like all his groupies was like white women and he didn't have no problem letting them know that he was just fucking crazy.
Is that why they call the dildo, the black dildo Johnson or something?
It might be.
What is it?
Ashley asked me, is that why they call the black dildo the Jack Johnson? I didn't know they called it black dildo about the Jack Johnson. That must be like a woman.
Oh yeah, I ain't never heard that.
That's a woman's inside of things. That's what we get by having a woman on the side. We didn't even know that they called the Jones Jack Johnson. I ain't know that. They said they got a dildo called the Jack Johnson. But yeah, that's main man. That's main man work. So they passed the law. I don't know if the man. You know what? I'm gonna ask Tehuti. Why was it called the Mann Act? The Mann Act, officially known. Listen to this shit. The Mann Act, officially known as the White Slave Traffic Act was
Oh.
named after its sponsor, Congressman James Robert Mann of Illinois. Hold on. The Mann Act was passed by the United States Congress in 1910 and aimed to address the issue of white slavery, which referred to the trafficking of women and girls for the purpose of prostitution. The Mann Act made it a federal offense to transport women across state lines for immoral purposes, including prostitution or debauchery. The law was intended to combat The law was intended to combat human trafficking and the exploitation of women by the criminalization by criminalizing the interstate transportation of individuals for illicit. Yes, there was a specific law passed in response to the boxer Jack Johnson. Jack Johnson was the first African American heavyweight boxing champion, winning the title in 1908. The Mann Act was passed in 1910, 2 years later. His relationships with white women and his victories in the ring against white opponents led to significant controversy and backlash during a time of widespread racial discrimination in the United States. In 1912, Jack Johnson was charged under the Mann Act for allegedly transporting a white woman across state lines for immoral purposes. He probably trying to get some head. The Mann Act, as mentioned earlier, was a federal law that made it illegal to transport women across state lines for immoral purposes, including prostitution. Johnson's conviction and subsequent imprisonment in 1913 were widely seen as a racially motivated and a response to his defiance of social norms and racial boundaries. The case against Johnson and his treatment by the legal system further highlighted the racial tensions and injustices of the time. The Mann Act and its application to Jack Johnson's case became a symbol of the discrimination and prosecution faced by African Americans during that era. In 2018, President Donald Trump granted a posthumous pardon to Jack Johnson, recognizing the racial injustice of his conviction.
Oh.
Goddamn, Donald Trump popped up again. I don't even remember how we jumped down the rabbit hole with Jack Johnson and shit. I know it had to do with prostitution and pimping and whatnot. Yeah, so but how it being illegal allows them to control it. You know what I'm saying? Or at least to a greater extent than they could control it if it was legal. Because he wasn't even, I mean, as far as I know, he wasn't even prostituting. Like he was a playboy. I mean, he was the heavyweight champ, you know what I'm saying? The first heavyweight champ, black dude, big husky motherfucker. He used to walk around with, big minks and furs and shit, with no shirt on, driving around the cars with his, he was a flashy nigga. You know what I'm saying? So women was on him, period. But he was not, you know what I'm saying? He was not the money down. So much so that they was like, we gotta lock this dude up.
No, that always been a thing though.
Yeah. So, but I think that I'm saying that comes with it being illegal. I mean, even though I don't think he was,
that shit was racially charged.
Right. I don't think that shit was prostitution, but the